Good afternoon, everyone. What a pleasure to be here. When NDTV had asked me to do this session on careers, foreign education, I felt the best way to do a session like this would be to have a more of an interactive session, not just me giving you a talk or a speech. So what I'm going to do today, let's divide the session into two parts today. One, I'll give you a small, not small, but I'm going to address questions that NDTV has prepared in conjunction with teachers, parents, and students. And then after finishing all that, let's open up the floor for questions and answer sessions, and that'll be much more interactive and hopefully help you to demystify the application process, and more than that, give you clarity on a lot of things which are hounding parents and students and teachers today. So I think let's first start the session on a topic before we go into all these applications and Ivy League nonsense. Let's first talk about careers and career planning. And one question which was addressed to me was, how to identify a career if the child is not sure of a career choice? How to get kids to start thinking and narrowing down what they would like to do in high school and beyond? I think this is a question which impacts virtually everybody. Me, you, everybody, isn't it? So before I get into that, let me just share with you. Over the years, lots of students have come to me and met with me with their parents. And my question to most of them is, do you have any idea what you would like to do after your high school or after grade 12? I would say 30% do, but 70% don't. To that 70%, I would always make a remark. When you decide what you want to do at an undergraduate degree, try and do something which you enjoy. Because eventually in life, it's not your undergraduate degree which is going to count. It's going to be your postgraduate qualification. But if you do something which you enjoy at an undergraduate degree, you will excel. And if you excel, you can go to any top postgraduate qualification afterwards. Let me give you some interesting examples that you must have heard of. There's a very famous company in India called Mahindra & Mahindra. They have a chairman called Mr. Anand Mahindra. Undergraduate degree, a BA in film studies, managing automobile company. Or Mr. Jack Ma, the person in Hong Kong, started Alibaba, biggest internet company in China. Undergraduate degree, BA in English. Or Sundar Pichai, who runs a computer science company, undergrad degree, bachelor's in metallurgical engineering. But because all these three gentlemen did something which they enjoyed, they excelled. And because they excelled, all of them landed up doing their MBA from top business schools. Mr. Sundar Pichai went to Wharton Business School, Jack Ma went to the top business school in China, and Mr. Mahindra went to Harvard Business School. It is that MBA degree which taught each of them more about management to go and run their respective companies. So folks, what you study at an undergraduate degree, where you study, is honestly irrelevant. It's how well you do which is most important, and you'll always do well in something that you enjoy. So again, the million-dollar question is, how do I find out what I enjoy? The same question which has been asked right now. I would say 4 steps to do that. First and foremost, when you're in grade 9, 10, or 11, undertake what is called a psychometric test. Very fancy word, psychometric test. This is a test in which we analyze the child's strengths and weaknesses, interest, and their aptitude. And then we merge all three together to see what is the best career option for you. For example, you may want to do engineering, but you may not have the aptitude. Or you'll discover you have a great aptitude to go into law, which you might not even have thought about. So from a psychometric test, we're able to shortlist 2 to 3 careers for you, in which you not only have a strong aptitude, but even a strong interest. And once we do that, I tell students now, go and read more about the careers which have been shortlisted for you. Let's say for a minute, medicine comes up as a career option. If you read about medicine in a career book or on the internet, you'll have much better insights as to what that career has to offer. Number 3, and very, very helpful, speak to professionals in fields that you want to pursue a career in. Let's say you want to pursue a career in digital marketing. Go and speak to 3 digital marketing experts. Find out what is the future in this career, what are the pluses and minuses, what are the hurdles I need to cross to become a successful digital marketing expert. Why? They have been in this field for so many years. They'll give you a much better idea than anybody else can. But the most important, job shadowing. Today, when you go to buy a new house or you attend a new school, you'll go and see it before you attend it or before you buy a house. Then isn't it important that you also have a look at a career before you jump into it and spend the next 10, 20 years of your life in that career? So in your summer of your 10th, summer of your 11th, go and spend at least a day or 2 in different careers which have been shortlisted to you from the psychometric test. Believe me, it'll really open up eyes for you. So if you do a combination of a psychometric test, do reading about the careers which have been shortlisted for you, speak to professionals, and do some job shadowing, believe me, you will really get to know what is the best career option for you after grade 12. So that's the right way to do it. It's a very scientific method. And a lot of people ask me, are these psychometric tests accurate? Are they important? Yes, they are. I would say amongst more than hundreds of students we have done psychometric testing with, 9 out of 10 have been very accurate. So please pursue that. Right time to do it would be sometime in grade 9, grade 10, grade 11, especially grade 10 was the best time because we in India have to decide what board to do in grade 11 and 12, what subjects to select in grade 11 and 12. So grade 10 I find is the best time to do a psychometric test and follow it up with all the other things which I have told you. That brings me to careers again. Today when we grew up in India, our parents were very compartmentalized. You could only do engineering, law, CA or medicine. I think today the world has come far from where we were earlier. India has grown so rapidly. So I tell any parent now, allow your child to do what he enjoys. Don't get compartmentalized. We are so compartmentalized because in India, we were all dependent on security, and security came through these 4 engineering fields, 4 fields that I told you, engineering, law, CA, medicine. Allow your child to explore and find out what he wants to do, because believe me, it's your postgraduate degree which is going to count. So do what you enjoy, folks, and believe me, it'll give you success in long-term basis. So once you know what career you want to do, the second question is, where should I do it? You have a choice to do it in India or to go overseas, isn't it? And obviously, India is a big choice today. Majority stay back in India, but a lot of people go overseas also. Today, if you look at the last 15, 20 years in India, the countries besides India which are very popular for going overseas has been USA, Canada, UK, and continues being so. India is also getting into popularity because of new colleges which have come up. But still, USA, UK, I would say out of 100 students who go abroad today, 60 to 70% go to US. And 20 to 25% would go to UK or to Canada. And there are reasons for that, because historically, these schools are, they have such strong research facilities, world-class faculty, English-speaking community, that people get attracted to it. And the biggest reason why people go to these 3 countries are the global reach. When you have a degree from USA, Canada, UK, you can work anywhere in the world. You can work in Dubai, Singapore, Hong Kong, India. And the other countries which are coming up, as somebody asked me that, what about emerging countries like Hong Kong, Australia, Europe, and Ireland? They are coming up, but they'll take a long time. But also remember, in Singapore, you've got 3 good universities, SMU, NUS, NTU. In Hong Kong, you've got 2 good universities. Australia, you've got maybe 7 to 8 good universities. But in Canada, you've got 25 top colleges. In UK, you've got like 100 top colleges. In US, you've got 500 top colleges. So what happens? You have a much bigger choice out there. And that's what gives you advantage when you're applying to these 3 countries. But I think the major reason to go to these countries in the West has been the ability to have a global reach and opportunity to do research work, which is not very common in the other countries. But now Europe is coming up very popularly. I find Netherlands, Germany, Spain, France is coming up well, but they have a long way to catch up with the West, I would say. And the West still remains a priority for most students to go to if they have to go abroad. Having said that, one of the big questions is it still good to go to the USA? Honestly, this is a question I was being asked over lunch today, and nothing has changed in USA. Yes, you hear all this media hype about funding being taken away. You hear about stories about people not getting, people being deported from there. But then I asked the people, have you heard of anybody who's been deported? No, actually, no. We have heard from somebody. So I think America is still a great country to go to. And the virtues of America is its flexibility. I've had students who want to study engineering in the USA. They've graduated in filmmaking. Look at the strong research. Look at the innovation. Look at any of the innovation technology. It all takes place in the USA at the end of the day. Over and above that, in USA, you have a very strong diversity, international student body from all over the world. You also have a world-class faculty to learn under. And with all these things put together and global reach, the USA is the prime destination to go to today. But again, people have been asking this question last 5 months, what has happened? Well, things have changed in USA. I'll talk about that a little later on. But coming back to the question, where are people going abroad today? I would say 80 to 85% would be USA, Canada, and UK, whatever changes may be there. And the emerging markets are still going to take some time, but they will grow, but it's going to take a much longer time to get to where USA, Canada, and UK is. One of the interesting questions was, what are some of the trends we are seeing with US college applications? This is very interesting. In USA, if you're applying for undergraduate studies, about 15, 20 years ago, they introduced what is called the Common App. And because of the Common App, you can apply to multiple colleges with one application form, up to 20 colleges. As a result, there's been a surge in admissions applications for colleges in America, making it much more competitive. Number two, which not many people know out here, in the last 2 years, a lot of colleges, they not perhaps say this to you, they have used AI and machine learning to predict an applicant's potential to do well in college and what sort of career path they do. So they can be much more selective this way. Three, and a very interesting phenomenon which we in India are not aware of, you know, if there are 100 seats in American college, there is something called MALDC. What is MALDC? Out of the 100 seats, about 35% go to MALDC. That's 10% go to minorities, 10% go to athletes, 5% go to students of father, mother, grandfather, grandmother who have gone, this is called legacy. 5% go to donors to colleges, and balance 5% go to students of, children of professors and administrators. So eventually, out of 100 seats, 35 are already gone. So you're only fighting for 65 seats. That is why you see admissions are becoming so competitive. Just to give you some statistics to put things in perspective, I'm giving you some 4 good universities in America. Boston University, in 2005, the acceptance rate was 52%. Last year, it was 10.7%. USC, which was 30% in 2005, last year was 9.3%. NYU, very popular school, 32% in 2005, 8% this year, last year. And UPenn, which was 20%, it's 5.38% this year. So a lot of students come and tell me, oh, you know, my uncle got in, my cousin got in 10 years ago with these sort of marks. I said, they won't get in anymore. It's become much more competitive now. So please be aware, competition is increasing, and you must embrace it as you apply to colleges to make your application stand out. Again, a very important question. With the rise of local institutions in India, are students looking at staying back generally? You know, I'm a big fan if a child can get into a good Indian college, it doesn't have a good college abroad, staying in India is a great option. We have some great colleges in India. In the last 10 years, lots of colleges have opened up. But the sad part is, for every one college which has opened up, there are 25 high schools which have opened up. So it's become a funneling effect. So even getting to the new colleges has become so much more difficult, as by default, people are going abroad today. But India has fabulous colleges, and you know, to convince a child to stay back in India is not easy today. But if he looks at India as a glass half full and looks at Indian colleges, they are marvelous today. Look at Ashoka, look at O.P. Jindal, look at Shiv Nadar, Ahmedabad University, Flame, Kriya. I can go on naming colleges. And students have done extremely well from there. So yes, I think today if parents are given a choice to stay back in India for an equally good school, I would say they would love to stay back. But question is, let's say things like engineering. You can't get into IIT or any top engineering college. So by default, people are going abroad. But yes, colleges have come up in India, and I would look at them very seriously. If you have certain careers in mind, like a humanities or a business-based careers, Indian colleges are superb. So also are the other colleges, but they're much more competitive. Even the colleges like Ashoka or Kriya have become so much more competitive than they were even 10 years ago. But Indian colleges, fabulous option to look at if you're open to the idea of being in India. So folks, children, you're staying back in India, look at India as a glass half full, not as a glass half empty. If you embrace India for 3 years, believe me, you can make a winning application to go to a top postgraduate college. As a matter of fact, a lot of my students want to stay back in India. I coined a term called 3+1. Do 3 years India, 1 year masters in UK, and then go for another postgraduate degree to USA. It works like a charm. And if you stay back in India, if you plan your 3 years in India with proper extracurricular activities, research, internships, summer schools, you can have a brilliant application on par with anybody who's gone abroad. Then the next question was the shifting jobs, internship landscapes, especially for international students, and how families and students should recalibrate their expectations and prepare mentally for different outcomes. This is a big, big challenge. You've been hearing a lot of stories, what's happening in America right now. Beyond the stories, let me tell you, costs are going up. Today, a cost in American school is averaging around $100,000 a year, not a small sum of money. Standardized testing is back, so people are not very fond of standardized testing, find it challenging to go to USA. But the biggest question is the OPT. There's a lot of uncertainty about OPT is optional practical training you get after you finish your undergraduate degree. is in Congress right now. We don't know what's going to happen, whether they will remove it or they'll change it or amend it. Questions, we don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of uncertainty at that also. Let me tell you, this year, I'm looking at my students who are in America, 50% have not got jobs. And I would say 90% haven't even got internships this year. This is the changing in America right now. So if you're going to go to America, it's no more the old American dream that you go there, you work for 2 years, you study there for 4 years, you work for 2 years, do your postgraduate degree, and settle down out there. Those things are changing now. You're going to go to America for the education, for the opportunity they give you in terms of research. That nothing has changed. It's as normal as it was 10, 15, 20 years ago. You have to be mentally prepared. You may have to come back to India for internships. You'll be mentally prepared to come back to India for jobs. But that is going to be a big change in America in the future. And this is happening more and more right now, as you must be hearing from your friends also. Again, a very important question, the difference between a university and a liberal arts education. In India, we have this misconception of liberal arts being humanities. No. A liberal arts curriculum is a curriculum which encompasses humanities subjects like English, history, psychology, philosophy, and pure sciences like physics, chemistry, biology, maths, computer science. That is called liberal arts. So what are careers like engineering, law, medicine, CA, architecture called? Professional degrees. So in America, you have what are called universities like Harvard, Stanford, Berkeley, Michigan. They are called universities because they offer a liberal arts curriculum. They also offer professional courses. Whereas liberal arts colleges like Amherst, Williams, Swarthmore, they only offer a liberal arts curriculum. So that brings me to the next question, an important question about the Ivy League. Ivy League are universities, okay? What is Ivy League? About 50 years, 1950s, 8 colleges in the East Coast got together to play sports. They were Harvard, Princeton, Yale, UPenn, Dartmouth, Cornell, Brown, and Columbia. And they had wanted to call their sports conference something, they call it Ivy Conference because Ivies were growing on the walls. And then over the years, it became Ivy League. And because Ivy League colleges themselves were very synonymous with quality education, Ivy League got associated with quality education. So Ivy League are only 8 colleges, the 8 ones which I just named you. MIT, Stanford, Caltech are not Ivy League, but they are even better or even as good as the Ivy League colleges. So these 8 Ivy League colleges and Stanford, MIT, and Caltech are put in the same category as being Ivy League schools in America. And what makes them so special, whether to go or not to go is another story, but what makes them so special is many reasons. People aspire for Ivy League schools. 1, you get a head start in life when you graduate because of the alumni network. 2, you command much higher salaries, I find, in the fields of law, finance, and consulting. A lot of credibility and branding when it becomes gateways to top postgraduate colleges, top faculty and research opportunities, soft power and influence, and a disproportionate amount of people who are in top jobs in Fortune 500. But having said that, is Ivy League the be-all and the end-all? Not at all. It's an option that you have to apply to. So it brings me to how to go to Ivy League school. And is it important to go to Ivy League school? We'll talk about that later. But to go to Ivy League school or to any college in America, remember they look at 5 things. Academics, your standardized test called SAT or ACT, your extracurricular activities, your recommendations from 2 teachers and a counselor, and your essays. Eventually, academics and SATs account for 60 to 65% weightage. Your extracurriculars and recommendation will be 30-35% weightage, and your essays will be 5 to 10% weightage. So folks who want to go to a top college in America, let me tell you one thing, the secret recipe, it's first academics, second academics, third academics, fourth academics, and fifth academics. We have forgotten that, especially in urban cities like Bombay, Delhi, Bangalore, Calcutta. Only one word is being used, profile building. Profile building never gets you into Ivy League school. What gets you into sterling academics, being a topper in your school? Yes, you do have a profile afterwards which you can build up. But first, focus on academics. Secret recipe to go to Ivy League school is academics. You know, the admission rates at Ivy League schools vary between 2 to 5%. Now, if you don't have a good academic profile, who's going to get you in? If you're doing CBSE, they want a 95% plus. If you're doing IB, you're doing a 41 out of 42. That's how things have changed. But there's a silver lining in all these things. Depends on the president of the college. They then decide how many they want from India. India competes with China. For example, this year, Princeton took only 4 from India. They should take 15, 16. As opposed to at Stanford, we should take 12 to 15 to 26 from India this year. So it all depends year to year what they want to do and how they are comparing India with China. Our main competitor is China. So that's why one thing you should be very well aware, the secret recipe to go to an Ivy League school, if I may share with you, is first, sterling academics. Try to be in the top 5% of your school or topper or top 3 in your school. And number 2, besides having good standardized testing scores and having good recommendations, very important that when you do your profile building, they say, Mr. Doshi, we love to take students who have done community outreach at a grassroots level on a sustainable basis. How are you empowering people? They want something quite different out there. That's what we should look at. How do we empower people at a grassroots level on a sustainable basis? That's been a key success. If you look at any Ivy League admit, majority have not, they had good education, good academics, good SAT scores, but they did something different, something unique. And it was always empowering people or doing something which stood them out completely. So to go to Ivy League school, there is no secret recipe. As I said, again, focus on academics, get your standardized test up there. Ivy League cutoffs in SAT is about 1550, ACT is about 35. Okay, get sterling recommendations and do some, also in extracurricular activities, don't go berserk. It's better to do 3 or 4 things than go into depth. They're doing a multiple of things and being a jack of all. They don't like jack of all. They like master of 1 or 2 and do it well. Analyze. Actually, you should go back and analyze students who have gone to Ivy League schools and see what they have done. You'll see a very uniform pattern. They've done something quite different which nobody else had done. There are parents who believe that if a child hasn't got into Ivy, they are nowhere. So true. So Bombay, Delhi. Oh my God. There's a question, oh, my child didn't get into Ivy League school. So what's the big deal? I've had, for one successful Ivy League admit, or people who have been successful at Ivy League education, 5 who have not done Ivy League admit more successful. But we become so paranoid because, again, it's all one upmanship in the cocktail circuit of Delhi and Bombay. My child goes to Ivy League school. And eventually I've seen my Ivy League school students have not done any better than my students have gone to non-Ivy League schools. So parents, please remove this from your mind that Ivy League is the way to go about America. It's all fed into us that Ivy League is the way all and the be all. It is not. Any top 100 college in America will give you a quality education, believe me. And if you can tell this to your child also, because stress levels have become so high. Every parent, every child is stressed out because he wants to go to Ivy League school. If you can get in, well and good. But when you also apply to colleges, you must be very realistic. It's like me, I'm 5'3". I want to marry Stanford who's 6'3". Enough of 6'7" people are available for her. But I think I'm so handsome looking that she'll marry me. Aspire for something which is 5'5", 5'6", but we don't do that. And that's when disappointments come in and people say, oh, I didn't get in the right college. But if you are aspirational, which is just above you, you'll always be a very happy person. Do you think students are facing more competition than in the past? Yes, indeed. In India, why is competition increased? Foreign exchange is freely available now. 2, internet has become a level playing field. People from 7th, 8th tier cities are going to top colleges. I was telling somebody over lunch, you have people from Pilibhit, from Surat, from Vijayawada, from Bathinda, from Gorakhpur, Asansol going to top Ivy League schools. 3, rising affluency. People have become more affluent now, more money to spend. So people want to send their child abroad. And 4, and most importantly, more international schools have come up. You know, I was looking at statistics. In 2010, there were 80 IB schools in India. Today, there are more than 175 IB diploma schools. In 2010, there were 100 A-level schools in India. Today, there are more than 200. So, and then on top of that, getting into Indian colleges is so competitive. It's a funneling effect. So going to America has become, that's why everybody wants to go to America or to a top college abroad. So it is very, very competitive. So you always have to be one step ahead of the competition. So when you're in high school, grade 9, 10, 11, 12, folks, please focus on academics, focus on your standardized testing, focus on 2 or 3 extracurricular activities which stand you out. Believe me, admissions will happen. And it's not that difficult if you plan it properly. That's why you require a good counselor who can guide you how to plan your next 4 years in high school. Should I send my child abroad for undergraduate programs if he gets into a top college? Only if he gets into a top college. Else he should study in India, as India is equally good, or rephrase, as if someone is getting into a course in a reputed university in India, will you still recommend her to go abroad? Well, it's a very tricky question. I would say eventually for me, the country is not important. Go to a good college. If you can afford, you want to get that exposure abroad, I would not say no to a child to go abroad. But if monetary situation is such that you can't go abroad and you are not keen to go abroad, staying back in India is a great option. Believe me, as a matter of fact, all my students have stayed back in India. If you look at Silicon Valley, if you look at one-third of promoters are from India, of the Silicon Valley startups, 99% are homegrown from India. They're not studied abroad at an undergraduate degree. So I'm a big fan. If you can get in a good college in India, it's a great, great option, because I find if you stay in India, you're far more street smart, you're better networked also, and long term, you do your postgraduate degree abroad, it makes a very big difference, and you really become a winner at the end of the day. So going to a good college in India, if you can get in, nothing like it. But then what do you tell people, like engineering, medicine? It's become so competitive. That is why by default you're going abroad, not because you need to go abroad, okay? So India is a good option. But as a matter of fact, something I was telling over lunch again today, that a lot of my students are going abroad, but I'm bringing them back to India. Reverse migration. Do your 3 or 4 years abroad, but come back and do your MBA at IIMs or ISB out here. Fabulous combination, because India is the most happening place today. And if you can come back to India, nothing like it by having a postgraduate degree from India itself. Do you think success is guaranteed if a student gets in a top college? Not at all. Not at all. Over the 30 years I've seen my students, I don't think success has come by which college they went to. It's come by sheer determination and adaptability and hard work, as I said. And this is something I would love each parent and student to read, a lovely book written by Frank Bruni. It's called Where You Go Is Not What You'll Be. Frank Bruni, Where You Go Is Not What You'll Be. It debunks the myth of elite colleges. Believe me, have a look at that. You'll feel much happier that your child is going to a good college if he hasn't gone to Ivy League school or elitist college. Couple of questions more specific to America. Doing international boards in grade 11 and 12 have an advantage over Indian boards for overseas admissions? Not at all. Both of them are completely on par. It's how well you do. If you look at the best results in Delhi, majority are from state boards, CBSE boards. So it doesn't make a difference that IB is better than CBSE. All of them are good. It's how well you do which counts at the end of the day. How important is profile building to get into a good university? It's important and not important. It is important after you have your academics in place. Once you have your academics in place, yes, profile building is important. But again, as I said earlier, do something which you enjoy. Do something in profile building which stands you out, you know. It could be anything. To share with you some examples, I had a student who went to Dharamshala, and he understood how a government in exile functioned in Dharamshala, the Tibetan government. And then he helped curate all the artwork that they had out there, something a little different. Or somebody else who was very fond of data science and theater did a project where he prepared a database of last 100 years plays in the Broadway in America, and used AI tools to see why they were successful, to help other producers to come out with successful plays. Or somebody else did a survey on insect-eating plants. He did a survey for 2 years and documented it, which is supplied to the Indian government out here. So do something which excites you, because it's not doing community service which gets you in a good college. Remember that. Do something which is interesting, because colleges can make out you have fudged your application. So please do something which is genuine. And yes, profile building is important, provided your academics and SATs are in place. But let me tell you, profile building does not compensate for weak academics. People think by having a good profile, I'll get into a good college. That never happens. But if you have good academics and weak profile, you get into a better college than somebody with a strong profile and not so weak and weak academics. So focus on your academics. Academics gets you in a very, very good school, and build up your profile also. Also, a predicted score is important. Not at all. Biggest myth in our schools, in IB schools in India. If you talk to any of your friends or relatives in America and ask them, do you know what are your predicted scores? They say, what are predicted scores? This is something that IB schools in India have started about 20 years ago, because most of them are run by British principals, and in England you require predicted scores. So it got percolated into IB schools. Otherwise, if you look at people who have gone from state board or CBSE, ISE boards, nobody has predicted scores. It's actual performance. So remember, to go to a good college, it's your 9th, 10th board, 11th, first term, second term, and 12th half year, not your predicted scores which count. Another very important question they ask is, by going to colleges in the summer time, is it helpful to get in a good college? Not at all. Visiting colleges have no additional value for a college admission. And number 2, they also ask, getting recommendations from some well-known personality, does that help? Zero. America doesn't care whether you're the prime minister or the minister. They don't care at all. They want to see genuine recommendation. By having a well-known personality will not help you in any way at all. And last but not the least, does summer schools help you? Except for selective summer schools really have no value. It's a good experience to have, to experience some career that you want to pursue or what college life would be. But for a college application, they don't count it. Why? It discriminates against people who can't afford to go to summer school. So summer schools are things you do to find out more about careers and about college life, but not as a tool to get into a good college at all. Finally, last question. What do you think is the most critical role a counselor plays in shaping a student's education journey, both overseas and in India? I would say to strategize, guide, and mentor students to achieve their optimal career paths and aspirations. A good counselor is a person who can help them meet their dreams, aspire for their dreams, but at the same time be balanced to look at a balanced list of colleges, balanced extracurricular activities, so that the child can get into what he deserves to go to. So a counselor plays a very critical role, and having a good counselor can make a very big difference. One of the questions which was asked to me earlier before I was coming to this session is, what should we embrace for the future? And this is something that I would love all of you to read. This is a book written by the president of Northeastern University, and his name is Professor Joseph Aoun, A-O-U-N, and he's written a book called, it's called Robot Proof, Higher Education in the Age of AI. Please read this book. It's absolutely brilliant. Joseph Aoun, A-O-U-N, Robot Proof, and it's on higher education in the age of AI, and all students and parents should embrace it. He's called a new term called humanities. What does a child need to embrace the future? Learn 5 things. Data literacy, to manage the flow of big data. Technology literacy, to know how machines work. Human literacy, the study of humanities and communication and design. And this is what will embrace you for the future. So on that note, let me finish my talk and let me open up the floor for question and answer session. So please do ask any questions that you have. I'll be happy to answer them and demystify some of the queries that you have.
Namaskar, sir. Sir, I'm Shikha Gautam from ITL Public School.
Hi.
Sir, my question was related to engineering. Actually, many of my PCM students, they take up physics, chemistry, maths, and they aspire for engineering. Until recent years, everybody wanted engineering in computer science. But with so many tools and apps coming up, literally you can write codes, you can test codes, you can debug codes, and much more. So do you think that computer science engineering is going to be redundant in future? And if so, what are the booming branches of engineering that will be relevant in the, say, next 20 to 30 years for the students?
That's a very good question. I'm seeing my students in America especially, who have done computer science, who have done engineering. I would say 50% of my computer science students are unemployed today. But every engineer has been employed, irrespective of whichever engineering he has done. So engineering gives you a foundation which computer science is more of a facilitator. So in America, if you look at computer science students, A, they're not getting jobs. 2, people are getting jobs also after 5 years. They're being laid off because they get cheaper labor straight out of college at half the cost. Okay. Number 3, with more companies shifting to AI, I was talking to the head of Microsoft in India. He's saying, Viral, in 2 years' time, we won't be recruiting any software engineers. Number 4, I'm looking at the history of my computer science students. After 5 to 10 years, yes, 10, 20% have done extremely well, but more than 50 to 60% are struggling to find their career paths, They join one startup or another startup. They make one app or another app. There is no stability at all. So I'm a big fan. Computer science is very, very important. We must embrace computer science. We must use AI and computer science, but do it with something. Do it with computer engineering. Do it with economics. Do it with mathematics. Do it with biochemistry. Go into computer shop. You must learn computer science, use computer science, embrace computer science. But I'm not a very big fan of doing computer science by itself today because if you look at America, the biggest problem are the computer science students. They're not getting jobs today. It's become a saturated market. So, but engineering, if you ask me, any engineering will do well. I would say from civil to mechanical to mechatronics to biomedical, every engineering is, because we will require engineers. But we fear that AI will replace engineers. AI will not replace anything. AI is going to help us to become better engineers. So I would say, answering your question, computer science engineering is still a very fashionable thing to go into. But look at the history of people who have gone there, where they have been afterward. You'll see success has not come very easily. So I would still believe a conventional engineering, even like mechanical, electrical, we always will have a demand for that. But use AI and computer science tools to help you out there. So I'm a big fan of doing between engineering and computer science, hardcore engineering, whichever engineering you do, believe me, it will not make a difference at all. You'll be successful. And as a matter of fact, 50% of engineers don't even do engineering. They all land up in the finance industry, marketing, or become entrepreneurs. It's just a way of thinking, a way of training your mind to think analytically and logically. So engineering is a great platform as an undergraduate degree, which computer science doesn't give you.
In fact, sir, there are a lot of students, in fact,
Right,
toppers,
please, go
10th
ahead.
and 12th CBSE toppers here. If any one of you would like to ask any questions. Okay.
Go ahead.
Namaskar, sir. My
Namaskar.
name is Janvi Agrawal, and
Hi.
I am from ITL Public School. I am pursuing engineering, but there is a confusion on which college to choose. On what basis should a student decide whether to go overseas or stay back here?
That's a very good question. Let me put it this way. If you can get into a top engineering college in India, I'm a big fan of engineering in India. I mean, the people that come out of engineering colleges in India are sharp. You know, they have a vision. Look at Silicon Valley. 99% of Indian homegrown engineering colleges do your postgraduate degree abroad. I find the zeal and the ambition among, because you go to a college where everybody is the best and the brightest, isn't it? So it raises your bar also. So I've seen all my students who have done engineering abroad, they have done a bachelor's and they've stopped out there. But my student did an engineering degree in India, that eagerness to go for a master's is much higher. That is why you'll see in all the master's programs abroad, you rarely see an Indian student who's done engineering abroad who's going for a master's program. 9 out of 10 will be homegrown engineers because they have that desire, I want to be successful. And look at Silicon Valley, it's all homegrown engineers. Even if you go to a NIT or a regional engineering college or Delhi School of Engineering, you'll have a great education. I'm a big fan of staying back in India for engineering if you can get in. The problem is getting in, isn't it? And any of the good engineering colleges in India is absolutely stupendous. And eventually you remember when you come back to India, if you've done an undergraduate degree in engineering abroad, you have no networking in India. If you've done an undergraduate degree in India, your networking is superb. And believe me, that helps you in life eventually what networking you have. So I would stay back in India if I had a choice.
All right. There is one,
Yes,
there is one
go ahead, young
student
lady.
here and there's one there. Right.
I'm Kavya Mathur, a class 11 student from ITL Public School. My question is that when a student takes science stream, so it is a common assumption that she will either do engineering, JEE or NEET. But my question is that is there any good career options in pure sciences?
Oh, lovely.
Like physics
What a
and
lovely
chemistry?
question. Thank you for asking it. Absolutely, I think, Haji sir. Haji sir. Both will address. I think one of the underestimated things we in India never really encourage pure science. We look down upon, you know, what will a child do after pure physics or pure chemistry or pure biology, but not at all. Let me share with you something. If you do something like a physics degree, let's say you do physics for undergraduate degree. You'll study astrophysics, quantum physics, particle physics, high energy physics, laser physics. After that, you can do a master's in physics, do a PhD, and go into academia, or you may go to teach, or you may go into research. But after PhD, after doing a BSc in physics, a lot of my students go and work in the finance industry. They do a CFA and MBA. A lot of them go into financial engineering. A lot of them go into data science. A lot of them go do an MBA degree in finance, marketing, or entrepreneurship. A lot of people, two of our chief justices did BSc in physics. Asked why, Mr. Doshi trained our mind to think analytically and logically. And that's what physics does to you. So don't worry about the future, miss. The future will take care of itself. Do what you enjoy. If you like physics or any of the sciences, chemistry. After chemistry, you can go into so many different fields. You can do a master's, PhD, and go into academia or teach. All the pharma companies, majority of the pharma companies have been started by PhD in chemistry. You can do a master's in flavors and fragrances. You can do an MBA degree and join a company like Unilever, Procter & Gamble in marketing. You can do finance and do mergers and acquisitions of chemical companies. You can go into public health. You may go into the whole area of hospital management. You can go into law and do patent law. There's so much of potential in chemistry. So don't worry about the future. Even things like biochemistry, like chemistry, you can go and do so many different options. You can do genetics, you can go into immunology, you may go into microbiology, molecular biology, food science, dairy science. People are not aware of it, sadly. We don't encourage pure sciences because it's always looked down upon. Typically, though, if you do chemistry, biochemistry, you become a salesman for a pharma company. Not at all. The times have changed. But if you can do pure sciences with computer science together and use AI tools, sky's the limit. Computational biology, looking at the CRISPR, looking at gene splicing, fantastic career options are there. So even if you do biochemistry, chemistry, physics, great option. Even mathematics. opens up the same options for you. So don't worry that if I do a STEM, I have to do engineering or medicine. Not at all. If you don't like medicine, go and do biochemistry. So many different doors open up for you in biochemistry, public health, hospital management, doing patent law, doing research work, going into data science. I've got 2 of my students did biochemistry and data science, and they're working in analytics. They analyze data in healthcare industry, in the pharma industry, doing so well today. So don't worry about, so pure sciences opens up lots of doors for you in case engineering or biochemistry doesn't open up for you, or medicine doesn't open up for you, stick to pure science. The world is beautiful. Pure science is one of the most beautiful things you can do. And answering the question, gentleman asked, humanities also. After any humanities degree, you can do so many exciting. Let's say you do a BA in history. You can do a master's in history, do a PhD, go into academia. You can top it up with an MBA degree. My own son did history and German. And my wife was aghast, Indian mother, Gujarati mother, how can he not do PCM? But it is MBA in finance and master's in public policy. You can go into international relations. You can do an MBA degree in finance, marketing. You can do hotel management. You may go into advertising, publications, filmmaking, radio, journalism. You can do a law degree. So sky's the limit. What you do at an undergraduate degree is irrelevant. Coming back to your question, if engineering and medicine closes for you, 10 more doors will open up for you. Embrace them. And believe me, if you talk to a good counsel, he'll tell you what sort of career paths can open up for you. So don't worry about that. Do pure sciences also, or pure humanities. The world is at your feet.
All right, so we are
running out of time. Sorry about that.
Thank you very much for
your
pleasure. Very valuable words. And I'm very sure that all the children, all the kids here, they will take this back and hope to implement in their lives as well.